I am really going to miss this. Seriously. Um, yeah, welcome to the Wilk Report. I'm Michael Wilk, coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio, without any editing or anything because my video editor program, I need to renew the license and money's kind of tight right now, so that's going to have to wait for a while. So you're just going to get this news video raw and unfiltered. Because I have a bit of news. I'm going to be getting to my Doctor Who, or more accurately, Doctor Timeless Child review later this weekend, and also start reviewing Cobra Kai now that that's dropped. But I wanted to give you this bit of an update on film production because as it is a Wilk Report, and we do focus on entertainment news as well as opinion and reviews. So this is on the tech side of things because this is something that actually is going to have a really revolutionary effect on how films are produced going forward. And we've already seen it in action. Now it's becoming wider. So let me go ahead and get to the browser. And this is from Tech Radar. The Mandalorian's micro LED displays could kill off the green screen for good. And here's why. Could the direction of filmmaking be about to change? According to a report from The Hollywood Reporter, and here's the article right here, Sony unveils crystal LED displays for virtual productions. But according to The Hollywood Reporter, Sony has announced a pair of new crystal LED modular direct view displays that could make virtual movie production of the kind used to create digital sets in The Mandalorian a far more widespread method of filmmaking. The displays, developed in collaboration with Sony Pictures Entertainment, comprise several modular panels that use micro LEDs to produce enormous digital images, allowing actors to exist in virtual movie sets without the need for traditional green screens. And this is a big deal because, a lot of money goes into actually building physical sets. And when you do use a green screen, there's a lot of editing work involved because the LED displays on use for The Mandalorian, and also, there was a recent George Clooney film, Midnight Sky, that was released, according to the article, that also made use of this technology. But the thing about green screens is that there's a high degree of reflectivity, so you're getting, basically you have to light for the green screen, and then go in during post-production and, insert the background, but you also have to do color correction because there's going to be some green light bouncing off the green screen and back onto the actor, so you have to light a certain way and everything. But this creates a virtual set where you don't get any of that. And instead you get a display that looks really like a virtual set, that's been built. And so you don't have to go on location shooting in the desert in like Morocco or the Sahara. You don't have to go to the Antarctic and risk falling into a pool of melted ice water because, that thing's melting at an alarming rate. No, now you can just go ahead and go to an ice planet and have all these digital sets right behind you. And that makes it a lot easier for the actors to do their job because they can immerse themselves and really sell the idea that they're on an alien world. So yeah, this is really great. I don't think this is going to be anything like when the film industry announced that it was doing away with actual film cameras back in 2012. Which was a mistake in my opinion. I think you can have film cameras and digital cameras alongside one another and let directors choose which medium they want to use. But in this case, you've got all sorts of potential because now you don't have to spend quite so much money in post-production. You don't have to spend quite so much money building physical sets or going on location, which may not always be a good thing because there's money associated with insurance costs, because actors have to be insured, crew have to be insured, equipment, all that stuff. And if you're going on location, you can do it if you want to, but if you're going to shoot on location in, like, say, Italy to do a spaghetti western, or if you're going to the Sahara or some other, or like maybe to the jungle, either the African or South American jungle to shoot, a lot of that money is going to be in insurance and making sure that if anything happens to people involved, compensation is going to be paid out. But nowadays you can eliminate a lot of that. And, the possibilities are I'm not going to say limitless, but, they're a lot more expanded now than they were, because now you don't have to spend so much. You wonder why Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice was such a monumental flop when it debuted in theaters, despite it taking in an excess of $850 million. But the production budget alone, combined with the massive marketing and distribution and merchandising budget, drove the total cost of that project to anywhere from $600 to $700 million. So that $850 some odd million doesn't really sound all that great. So it needed to make over $1 billion. But what if you can spend half of that and not have to worry so much? Then you get a much bigger return on investment. So something like this, like I said, it's a big deal, because now you can open up productions where you spend a lot less on the front end, and then you make a much bigger net profit, depending on, but first you have to make a movie that's actually watchable. And given the hot mess that is Wonder Woman 1984, it is not necessarily a given that you're going to make a whole lot of money back, especially when you've shut down theaters and you've made a movie that basically has your protagonist raping a guy. Oh man, that is such a messed up movie. But yeah, it's just really insane the way things are going. So yeah, that's pretty much that article. But let me go to the original Hollywood Reporter piece, because that is the one that first broke it. So yeah, just prior to next week's virtual CES, Sony Electronics announced a pair of new crystal LED modular direct view displays aimed at professional applications, including virtual production, an area that has experienced an uptick in interest during the past year and has been used on projects from The Midnight Sky to The Mandalorian. Sony calls attention to the C series for its high contrast ratio and B series for accentuating high brightness. Sony reports that the B series was developed in collaboration with Sony Pictures Entertainment to reflect the needs of production. For instance, it features an anti-reflection coating with a matte finish with an eye toward virtual sets. Both series are equipped with Sony's X1 for Crystal LED processor and incorporate the same Crystal LED technology used in its Bravia TVs. Features include the ability to display high dynamic range images, high frame rates up to 120 frames per second, and stereoscopic 3D. They're also fanless for quieter operation. A virtual production environment using the tech giant's current display technology, which was initially unveiled for additional uses during including digital cinema, can be found at Sony's Digital Media Production Center, an LA-based venture for filmmakers. That setup was featured in the Sony exhibition a year ago at CES 2020. The new Crystal LED C series and B series are planned to be available this summer. Pricing was not announced, but I have a feeling it's going to start off rather a bit pricey and then go down as it takes off. But yeah, and this goes a little bit more into why the anti-reflective coating and brightness matter, because the displays can operate at an average of 1800 nits, which is in the upper range of brightness even for Samsung's ultra-bright QLED displays. For comparison, even Apple Pro's display XDR, referring to its extended dynamic range, reaches a peak of 1600 nits. The point being, Sony's new displays will allow greater visual fidelity to actors and filmmakers tasked with creating authentic, convincing worlds. It's the reason why the Mandalorian sets seem so real. The actors are able to deliver their lines while the sands of Tatooine whirl around them rather than working alongside giant green panels. And of course, the technology isn't just a benefit to filmmakers, but audiences too. If actors are convinced of their own existence in these virtual worlds, and so will viewers be. Displays like these allow for more natural light emission, doing away with the false lighting required from traditional filmmaking methods. reflections too are more realistic. Typically, post-production teams are forced to spend hours editing out pesky reflections caused by green screens, inserting false effects to create the illusion of natural light. With Sony's virtual displays, reflections seen in movies will actually be those caused by the light of the actor's surroundings, creating a more authentic, immersive visual experience. So yeah, I am drooling over this tech, and I can't wait to see it used in more productions. Now, obviously, you still, if you're shooting on a digital camera, you still need to light properly. Because when I was in film school, a lot of my fellow students, were kind of like oblivious to what the instructor was saying. Where it's like, yeah, any problems with lighting, they assume they could go fix it in post, and it's like, no, because digital cameras do not give you true blacks the way celluloid does. And if you don't light properly and you go to try and fix it in post, you end up tinting your shadows. You look like an amateur. People aren't going to want to hire you because you couldn't be bothered to do your job. So, yeah, I mean, but, these new displays, though, I mean, wow. I mean, this is really going to revolutionize the industry in a way that hasn't been done before. Now, I was a little bit dismayed about the 120 frames per second bit because, honestly, no. I mean, a real cinematic image still works at 24 frames per second. The faster you go, the more artificial it looks, and I think that if you were to slow it down to 24 frames per second, which is about what the human eye can perceive anyway, and it just looks more cinematic. If you want something that looks artificial and more like it was filmed on a handheld camcorder, fine, more power to you, but that's just my perspective from having gone through film school and actually worked with this stuff. So but I mean, what do you think of this? I mean, this is a really interesting technology. If you liked the visuals in The Mandalorian and how real it looked, this might be something that you want to look into if you're a professional filmmaker. So, because, like I said, my editing software license has to get renewed, so you're just getting this video raw and unfiltered. So, if you like what you've heard and you want to hear more, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon and select all to receive notifications whenever we upload new content. Like this video, share it, comment, let me know what you think. Head over to our Patreon or Coffee page and, drop some money my way. Help me improve the quality of this show and bring you more content because, I could really use the help, and I really want to be able to bring you this stuff on a more regular basis. So until next time, this is Michael Wilk for the Wilk Report saying take care, good night, I'm out.